Hey, good morning everybody. So here we are in day 4 of our 10-day Alaska trip, and today is actually a very special day. And do you know why? Because as the great President Bill Pullman once said in the movie Independence Day,
today is the 4th of July. But as the day when the world declared in one voice, we will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive. Today, we celebrate our Independence Day.
And actually, we're also celebrating, again, my birthday. So I am finally turning 37, the big 37. Can't believe I'm actually already turning close to 40. But today, we're gonna be exploring the little cute town of Talkeetna, and we're gonna go ahead and just kind of walk around the little downtown area and kind of see what kind of shops that they have. So let's take a look. The historic town of Talkeetna is located between Denali National Park and the city of Anchorage. They have a wide range of activities to choose from, including flight seeing, fishing, riverboat tours, hiking, dog mushing, which is only in the wintertime, ATV tours, and a plethora of various gift shops, art galleries, and dining. This is really cool. I really like the intricate designs of how they carve the interior. Look at these different colors, different shapes of everything. That is amazing. Wow. So after doing all the little bit of the sightseeing, looking at the gift shop, we decided to go ahead and stop by the Conscious Coffee place to basically, if you guys remember from 2 days ago, or from yesterday actually, where we were in Denali and we had my first time having an espresso milkshake. They basically have like a world famous espresso shake here, and actually it's really freaking good. I don't know how to express it, but you could, it tastes, if you imagine if you ever you go to like a Baskin Robbins or any ice cream shop, and you get like their espresso chip ice cream, it basically tastes like that, but something about just having it in a milkshake form tastes really good. They do have other coffee flavored, other milkshakes and all that, so I'd say highly recommend checking out. Really popular place, so expect to be waiting in a line for a while, so if you're not in any particular rush, definitely come by and check out Conscious Coffee. Luckily for us, we came by on a time that they're actually having a 4th of July parade, so one of the nice things about coming to small towns is everyone's gathering, everyone knows each other, and let's take a look and see what the 4th of July parade looks like over here in Talkeetna. Pretty cool festival, right? Quick little celebration of 4th of July parade. And so after visiting Talkeetna, we're gonna start making our way down towards Anchorage. And there's 2 stops that we actually want to go and check out before we make our way towards Anchorage. And the first one is the Denali Brewery Company, which is gonna be kind of like a factory tour of how they make the beer, as well a little bit of a beer tasting. And the other one's gonna be Birch maple syrup tasting. So I'm excited for both. Okay, so interesting to know is that they normally do have the factory tour, but I guess due to probably COVID reasons, they're still not doing any factory tours at this moment, but they still have some beer samples that we can taste, like local beer tastes like. So let's go ahead and kind of do a sampler of one of those. So I asked for a recommendation for which beer to get, and so far I really like what's called the All Are Welcome wheat beer. It's got a hint of what? Licorice, a little bit of a sweetened taste. There's no real description in the beer, but it does taste a little bit sweeter. Fennel, we'll say. There's a little bit of fennel. Fennel, licorice, something like that. Yeah. My mom drinking beer for like the 3rd time. Look at that stoic face.
It's interesting.
Interesting. All right, everybody. So after doing the Denali Brewery tasting, and as you can tell, I'm a little red. I have what's called the Asian glow, where Asians are not really able to digest alcohol. As a result, we turn red in our face. But here we are, basically going to do a maple syrup testing over at Birch Syrup. And it's pretty cool. If you walk around, they have a lot of the maple trees tapped and basically trying to drain some of the maple syrup that's coming from the maple syrup tree into a nice little white bucket. All right, so pretty cool. We're actually about to go ahead and join the maple syrup factory tour, so how they process, how they make the maple syrup. Let's take a look. The tour starts off with our guide explaining the process of how they harvest and produce their birch syrups. The tour is free and lasts for about 10 to 15 minutes. After listening to the process, you'll get the opportunity to try out some of the sample syrups on a nice little teaspoon sampler. It's a very interesting process, so make sure to stop by Birch Syrup tasting and buy some syrup to take home. So it's actually really cool. I never knew that you could actually make syrup from birch trees. And because I know like whenever, for example, I go hiking a lot and I see a lot of the saps that are like dripping from the tree, that is essentially what they use. And so how they were describing is that they would either use a bucket or they would use a piping system where they would create like a vacuum and suck all of the sap out. So apparently the way they described it is that birch tree, as far as producing the amount of sap or syrup, is only about a 10-year lifespan. And so what they would end up doing is after they would collect all of the sap from the birch trees, they would bring it back to the office or the factories, and they would basically heat it up and caramelize it, and that's what gives it its brown coloring and texture. And one of the key differences between the birch syrup as well as the maple syrup is the fact that we all have had maple syrup before, hopefully you have, is that maple syrup is a lot more sweeter. So when we were sampling some of the birch syrups, birch is a lot more tardy. So they would have what's called like the early run, and you would eventually go down towards like the late run, right? Which I assume it's like they would cook it longer or they would hold it for a lot longer periods of time. The later you go, the more tardy and sour it tastes. So depending on if you have an affinity for sourness, you may not like the later runs of the birch syrup, but either way, a really cool experience, and the sampling is actually free. So you guys can come out, do a taste test, and basically buy syrup if you choose to do so. And one other thing I want to mention is that they also sell like chaga tea, which is like a mushroom flavored tea. And they have what's also called birch water, which is like a mixture of birch with like creating like some type of like fruity drink, which we did end up ordering. And they do have ice cream for everyone to try. So definitely come by and check out to see how they kind of produce their syrup and just kind of experience like this area within Talkeetna. All right, so we finally made it to Anchorage, and Anchorage is actually a pretty big city. For some reason, looking at the map, I thought it'd be a lot smaller than I anticipated, but they pretty much have everything that a regular city would have. REI, Best Buy, Walmart, Regal Cinema, and there's a lot of other fancy restaurants that we could actually try. So after checking into our Airbnb, we're gonna go ahead and have dinner at a place called Moose's Tooth Pub and Pizzeria. This was recommended by our host, and it's also, I guess, according to Yelp, it's actually one of the better restaurants here located in Anchorage. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what the pub and pizzeria is all about. All right, so let me actually say that this pizza place was actually really good. So a couple of things. We came obviously on the 4th of July day, and it was actually really busy. So when we put our name down for 6 people, it took about an hour and a half to basically get our seat. And so what we ended up doing was actually just going to a local park and just kind of hanging out for a little bit and coming back about an hour later, just so that way we didn't have to really wait. And we were basically able to explore the other parts of the city without really having to wait in line. But once we did, so we obviously asked for recommendations as far as what is good. What do people order at Moose's pizza area? So what they highly recommended was ordering something called the Avalanche, which consists of pepperoni, blackened chicken, bacon, red onions, parsley, cheddar, mozzarella, provolone, and barbecue sauce. This kind of tasted like a Thai chicken pizza, for those of you who have never had a Thai chicken pizza before, primarily because of the barbecue sauce, but otherwise, we ended up ordering a large pizza, and it basically, again, we have 6 people, it pretty much fed all of us. So for appetizers, we ended up ordering the chicken wings with spicy Korean sauce, and yeah, I thought it was okay. Like it tasted kind of like bulgogi seasoned chicken wings. So I'm okay with bulgogi chicken's flavor, but otherwise, I would have probably recommended maybe a spicy seasoning. You know, hot wings should be spicy, right? The Korean sauce wasn't really that spicy in my opinion. We also ended up ordering the mozzarella breadsticks, and this was really good actually. And then as last but not least, as far as the salad is concerned, we also ended up ordering a blackened chicken Caesar salad. And actually, I would highly recommend ordering a large size portion due to the fact that it does come in a pretty large size plate, but the fact that I don't know if it was just me craving something more healthy, more vegetable-like, but I pretty much gobbled this whole thing up. But overall, this place was actually really good. Yeah, again, if you guys are looking for a nice place to eat and kind of wanting something a little bit different, definitely come by and check out Moose's Tooth Pub and Pizzeria. All right, so after having pizza for dinner, we decided to drive around the main parts of Anchorage for a little bit, and we were just driving by, and all of a sudden we see a long ass line for something, and lo and behold, we came by this awesome ice cream shop called Wild Scoop. So I want to go ahead and check it out and really see what makes this place so great. All right, so after waiting in line for about half an hour, I mean, if you guys saw that line was ridiculously long. But the one interesting thing about Wild Scoops is the fact that a lot of these flavors are actually something you don't really see in your everyday like ice cream shop. So they had this thing called the spruce tip, which is actually what I ended up ordering. And I don't really know what a spruce tip is, honestly, but the way they described it is basically the pine needles or the spruce of a pine or something like that. But it reminds me of a coconut flavored sorbet, kind of laced and mixed with some honey. Actually really, really good. And they had some other flavors there, like a rhubarb, for example. They had like a honey spice hibiscus that my brother ended up getting. Unfortunately, I didn't end up trying it, but I figured, you know what? Really, really, really good ice cream. So if you guys are interested in getting some fantastic newly flavored ice cream that you guys have probably never have sampled before, definitely come by and check out Wild Scoops. All right, so our last stop for the evening is going to check out some of the oceanfront views of Anchorage, and we ended up going to a place called Coastal Trail of Elderberry Park, and we were fortunate enough to get this awesome, beautiful sunset with the boat in the background, and it's just a nice way to kind of end the day before we start making our way up towards Alyeska/Girdwood for tomorrow. But we do have plans on checking out Chugach State Park to kind of do one of the hiking trails over there, because supposedly it's a good place to go and check out wildlife as well as getting like hiking along the coastal front of Anchorage. So looking forward to that, and I'll see you guys again for tomorrow, day 5 of our Alaska 10-day excursion. See you tomorrow.